Hey, Kyle. Can you give us an update on Debo
Oh yeah,
Samuel's
I got
health and
injuries for today.
well,
Ayuk's questionable, Garland's questionable, Debo will be out, and Verrett's out.
and then Kyle, in
Coleman
regards to
Coleman
Debo,
missed today. It wasn't injury related.
and then in regards to Debo, why not just put him on injured reserve so you can practice him up the next couple of weeks before he would debut in week 4?
Because we believed he had a good chance to play this week. It didn't go the way we hoped, but it'll still be day to day going on that next week. We felt there was a chance, so to make a decision that would be 3 weeks when we thought he did have a chance, we didn't think that would be very smart. But we'll see how next week goes.
Kyle, how
Oh, and
close were you
also, as something with the rules that because it happened before training camp started, which is considered non-football injury, all right, there was some reason we couldn't do that either. So,
Kyle, how close were you to having to tweak the schedule? How close were you to having to tweak the schedule today because of the smoke? And what is your level of concern for Sunday in that regard?
we didn't have to tweak it. We would have if it got to 200. But it didn't. So people with pre-existing conditions today, they couldn't practice with it being just past 150. If it happens Sunday, I mean, my understanding is if it gets to 200, that's when the NFL will start really discussing what to do with the game. I don't think that's my decision at all. I know it's not, thank goodness. So we'll just see what happens. Hopefully it won't get there. Hopefully it'll be safe. But we got to see what the wind does.
Kyle, several of your players spoke about being very disciplined this week, and that was a focus. Was that one of your messages going forward this week, looking at facing a mobile quarterback?
Hold on, Jennifer.
Hey, folks, can you speak up to help us because the sound in the room is too low for some reason?
Hi, Kyle. Several of your players spoke about being very disciplined this week. That was a focus. Was that a message going forward just for week 1, or just because you're playing against Kyler? Or just kind of a message just to get everybody going for the beginning of the season?
I mean, it's always a message, but I think, going against a player like Kyler, having the first week of the season, I think everything's even heightened even more on that. Guys are fired up; they're ready to play. But you got to go out there and make sure you execute. And we haven't been out there yet, neither have they. So you're going to see that stuff to me a lot around the league. So guys no matter how excited you are to play, you got to make sure you lock into doing your job, doing your assignment. Both of those things don't always go hand in hand, and it takes both of those things to be successful, but sometimes they can contradict each other. So I know the excitement's there. I know the guys should be ready to go, but you can't lose track of thinking that's all that you got to worry about. You got to be locked in. There's a lot of assignments that you got to do to execute this stuff. And usually if both teams are playing really hard, which I fully expect, the team that executes better will win.
Kyle, I think there had been a contingency to play the game in Arizona to swap the games with the Cardinals. The fact that the NFL hasn't done that, does that signal that you guys are optimistic that the weather conditions will improve by Sunday? And if the answer is no, what would the contingency be at that point?
I'm not sure. I don't try to worry about things I'm not involved in, so I'm just trying to get our team ready to play this game. I'm sure that the NFL has had discussions with other people, not any coaches, I don't think, not Cliff or I. So we're just getting ready for this game. If it is at 200, I know that's when they'll decide whether we play or not, how to go forward with that, but I'm not really sure of the contingency plans.
Hey, Kyle. You've made it pretty clear in the past that you support NFL athletes on a lot of the social justice measures that have been in the news. And I'm just wondering now, as the season starts, it's still in the news, but is that another thing that you try to put out of your mind? How do you approach it as the head coach? And does your team specifically have anything planned for Sunday?
I don't think, they haven't mentioned anything to me about having anything planned. I think they're going to do what they've always done. But you'd have to ask them individually. I know as a team we're not planning anything, but individuals might have something planned, however they want to handle the situation. I think that is more of an individual thing personally. But no, with the spin, our team's, I think we've dealt with this since I've been here, and I know they've dealt with it before I got here. And it's never been a problem for our organization. It's never been a problem for any of our coaching staff. It's never been a problem for our players. So whatever they decide to do this weekend as an individual, whatever I decide to do, whatever anyone does is their prerogative. That really has nothing to do to me with our job or the game that's going on. That has to do with what people think and how they feel on the inside.
Hey, Kyle, with Debo being out, with Brandon and Garland being questionable, do you anticipate making any moves by tomorrow, 1 p.m., to bring guys up from the practice squad?
It's some things we can discuss. I mean, there's always a possibility. I mean, with Garland and Ayuk being questionable, we got to be ready to do something depending on that. So we'll see how that goes. We do have till that time. It might take us all the way till game time to decide if they can go or not, because they are that close to doing it. They also have been prepared in camp and done enough stuff to be ready, which is a little different than how Debo is. But we'll see. I mean, if we know for sure that they're not going earlier, we'll probably have to do something. And if we still won't know, we might still have to do something just to have that just in case when it comes on Sunday.
Hey, Kyle, if the air quality doesn't change significantly, I would assume is Tevin's status for the game in question?
Well, yeah, Tev, I mean, that's why he didn't go out there today. Just taking a precautionary decision to help him for Sunday. I know when it is up to 150, that's when it can affect some people with different conditions. So that's something that Tevin, it'll be a personal decision when he gets there. It's not just an automatic no, similar to when you play in high altitude and stuff like that. It's not an automatic no. That's stuff you got to discuss with the doctor and be comfortable with. Dealing with oxygen tanks and things there can help. But talking to Tevin, I've been through some situations with him before, dealing with things like playing in Denver and stuff. And Tevin will do what's right for him, what's safe. I know he's going to want to play extremely hard and be out there. I know that it kills him not to be, but I also know Tevin will make the right decision, and I know our doctors will help him with that.
You had mentioned previously that Brandon Ayuk, given his preparation and how he came into camp from a mental perspective, could probably handle, playing despite missing some time. But when he has an injury and he only has 2 days of practice, what's your process in making that determination in terms of how much to put on his plate if he is healthy enough to play?
Yeah, my process is different with each individual. Kind of depends on how I feel about the individual and what they can handle, what they can do with the limited reps. One good thing is we usually don't let guys come back and put them in practice until they've had a few healthy days before that. So it means he's going in the right direction. It means he probably, right now, I feel he could get through it. We just got to decide on what that risk is, and that'll be something that you constantly talk to the trainers about. But it's also, at this point, something that we got to keep really talking to Brandon about. But we'll make sure that we do what's best for him.
Hey, Kyle, are you, curious to see how Arizona uses Isaiah Simmons on Sunday, given his versatility, and obviously you haven't seen him play since Clemson?
Yeah, I mean, definitely curious about a lot of things, as I'm sure they're curious about a lot of things too. You kind of get an idea about everything just watching preseason tape a little bit, and none of us have that for the first time. So there's a lot of things like that we all want to think about and talk about, and I'm sure everyone's discussing outside of here also, but we're not going to find that out till Sunday, and once we do it, I think it'll be pretty evident, and then you'll know how to adjust.
Kyle, Chandler Jones has been doing it for a long time at a high level, maybe doesn't get the credit he deserves. What is it that makes him so good and so hard to deal with?
A number of things. It starts with he's a freak, just talent-wise. Just like his brother is, watching him fight. I mean, they're tall, long guys with the right mentality to play football. I also think he's an extremely smart player. Going against him over the years, he recognizes plays. He plays very hard. He's very unpredictable. He's got the athletic ability to kind of freelance, but he kind of freelances a little bit, but still tries to find a way to play within the scheme. You can tell it's when you have a smart guy like that who's also a smart football player who's extremely talented. It doesn't shock you at all why I think he's gotten more sacks than anyone here over the last few years.
Kyle, when you talk to your coordinators about how to approach Sunday's game, do you see a scenario where, because of all these unknowns, that you guys might use 3 timeouts in the first quarter just to make adjustments from things that you didn't, you weren't sure that the Cardinals would show you?
No, I don't think that'll really will happen with timeouts or anything. I worry about the timeouts using it with just being rusty and getting in and out of the huddle, substitutions and stuff where you can get caught where it looks like a certain personnel is on the field and we send in a personnel and you have the wrong one and then it's past 15 seconds on the play clock, so I can't talk to Jimmy then, or Salah can't talk to Fred, and that's when it kind of messes stuff up because you got the wrong stuff in there, and you get better at that throughout reps and everything and going through it fast. But there will be some. I keep telling everyone wants to know if we're ready to play. I promise everyone's ready to play. But it's the execution of the things that the players got to do on the field, the execution of the things that the coaches have to do. Those are the things that sometimes when you're not as quick with it or you hesitate a little bit, you got to decide whether you want to use a timeout and burn it, or if you just want to take that 5 yards. And, we usually decide that in the heat of battle, and it depends on the situation. But hopefully everything will go perfect, which I never count on.
All right, thanks, folks.
All right, guys, thanks.